Hi, my name is Lena and welcome to my channel. You can see that my bookshelf is in a bit of disarray. I made it because I'm doing grab 10 books from your bookshelf and talk about it tag. I was tagged by Curtis from Curtis Films and Books. An original tag belongs to Shawn The Book Maniac. I'll leave all the links to the channel's info box down below. Let's start. First of all, funny book-related thing about me. I do not have my own bookcase. I have several bookcases that contains my father's books and my brother's books, but my books are mostly stored into the cupboards and behind the clothes. Um, Not transparent doors. So I grabbed 10 books from various areas in my flat where I store my books. And they are not exactly random because I think the main idea of the tag is to show which books I read and which topics interest me. So let's start. Let's start with the most beautiful one. This is a series of books. It's called Encyclopedia Vanished Civilizations. And this one, Egypt, the land of pharaohs. This book was translated from English, but I cannot find a single English surname. The only thing I can tell you guys that it was published in England in 1992 by Time Life Books. So basically, it's a collection of very beautiful photographs. It has some text. Okay. It's a very beautiful book. Do you suppose they call them albums? Guys, I read it. I have probably read it. Have finished it, but I cannot remember a thing about it. This is just how my brain works. I can remember a foreign word I heard several years ago, but I cannot remember dates, names, and facts, history. Maybe I'm doing it wrong, some whatever. Let's continue. So then I have Bridget Jones' Diary by Helen Fielding. I have read it 3 times. I have done a course paper on it when I was studying English, learning English language in a university. So I don't think you need to hear from me what this book is about. It's a very light, very cozy, very funny read. And I think you know the story thanks for the movies. Then I have no idea how I found out about this book, but I am very glad I did. It's Daddy Longlegs by Jean Webster. And I suppose you consider it a YA book, maybe even children's book. So this it's a novel or novelette. Basically, it's a collection of letters. So an orphan girl, I suppose she's 16. She writes a composition about her orphanage, and a wealthy gentleman who is a patron of this orphanage. He reads this letter and likes it, and he decides that this girl might have a future as a writer, and he pays for her to go to college. And for his charity, she needs to write him a letter a month telling about basically her success in her studies. But she writes about everything, about her experiences, about life in the college, about her friends. It's a very light, very kind, very enjoyable read. Sometimes sad, of course, but very enjoyable. I would recommend it to you if you haven't read it. Then Dandelion Wine by Ray Bradbury. This, I think it's a book about a young boy learning about life, experiencing different emotions, loss, basically growing up. It's a very good book. Mm. I like it very much. I read it probably 4 times, maybe more. And I know about this book thanks to my friends. And thank you, Lena. Then I have quite a bit of Michael Crichton's books. This one, Airframe. An airplane got crushed. Everybody on board died, and this woman, she is with the airplane building company that made this airplane, and she investigates this crash. She needs to find out whether it was the fault of the airplane or whether it was a mistake made by the flight crew. I don't remember much about the story, but I remember that parts of the story were quite scary. I would say it's a thriller. I like it very much. I just didn't want to sit here in front of you holding Sphere, because I think everybody who read one book by Michael Crichton read Sphere. um, then One Flew Over the Cuckoo Nest by Ken Casey. It's a Russian edition. This book was published in Russia. Um, and this book broke my heart. But it made a lasting impression. I like it very much. So basically, there is a guy, and he was arrested for several times for fights in bars. And this time, there is a choice in front of him, whether she goes to prison or she goes to this asylum and spends time there. And he chooses asylum. She expects to spend maybe 2 months there, and got evaluated, and then got set free, because he is a normal person. He is not crazy. He just likes to drink and he likes to pick up fights in bars. That's all. But it's all doesn't go according to his plan. It's a very moving book. I like it very much. And then my favorite Agatha Christie book. We have quite a bit of Agatha Christie in shops. This book was published in Russia. Poirot, he barely managed to get a ticket to the Orient Express. He actually is given a place in a compartment reserved for the railroad officials, because he is friends with one of them. And during the night, there is a murder, and Poirot investigates it. It's my favorite Agatha Christie. And if you can find a book read by David Suchet, I recommend it very much, an audiobook, because I just love his impersonation of the characters. Mm. Um, Sorry, guys. Uh, then The Painted Veil by Somerset Maugham. Let's say I read it many years ago, and I don't remember the details. But it's about a dysfunctional family. A wife cheats on her husband. He is enraged. He's a doctor, and he takes her to some province in Kong. I'm not sure, guys. He takes her to a place where there is uh, a breakout of some very dangerous disease. I don't remember exactly which disease it was. So he takes her to this place. Basically, he tries to kill her this way. I suppose it's his revenge. Um, well, once again, things don't go according to his plan. It's a very good book. I liked it very much. I liked it much more than Theatre by Somerset Maugham. Then I have quite a few books on the history of Knights Templar. It's one of them. It was translated from French. It's a book by Marion Melville. Okay, if you can see the surname of the author. No, I'm sorry, guys. So I think still Donahue is right, because in movies, Knights Templar and documentaries about the castles of Knights Templar, they are kind of made this mysterious people, very romantic people, very brave, very interesting characters. But, for example, these books, quite a big part of this book was describing the rules on giving and receiving presents that were the rules of the order. For example, what you can give to a count, or what can you receive from a count, what can you give to a baron, a marquis, this kind of thing. It is the history of Knights Templar, but it's extremely boring, these details. I have quite a few books on Knights Templar and on the Crusades. Then, a book I haven't read, it's we have another series of books. This one, the life of interesting people, and this one on the life of Plato and Aristotle. Guys, I'm sorry, I do not know an English version of the name. I'm sorry. So both of these books on Plato and on Aristotle were written by Russian speaking scholars. And I think this one, the last one, it's an encyclopedia of war history. It's called Greece and Rome. I think the target audience of this book is high school kids, but I think it's a very interesting book. It has quite a lot of pictures. But I didn't finish it, guys. For some time I was reading it at lunch. 2 pages at lunch, but then for some reason I stopped. Maybe I should start it again as one of the books for nonfiction November. And this book, yeah, it was written by Peter Connolly, and it was translated from English. I'll try to. Can you see this? No, of course you cannot. I'm sorry. I'll try to find links and put it in the info box. So this book is the main reason why I know the story about 300 and not the movie. I haven't watched the movie, I probably should. So guys, thank you for watching. Goodbye and happy reading.